I feel like my surfing is as good as ever. I do think it's a good time for surfers my age because the boards are just so good that you're able to kind of maintain at least some level that we had in younger days. But the boards now are just very exciting and keeps guys like myself keen, to go out, surfing bad waves and that sort of thing.
Welcome back to the Living Banter Podcast. I hope you guys are good. You know what, we're doing episodes every Saturday when this comes out, but today we have an incredible guest. He's such a legend, 3-time world champion. He's a brilliant musician, all-around great guy. He's one of the best surfers in the world known today. It is the one, the only, Tom Curren. How are you doing today, bro?
I'm fine, King. Thank you.
Awesome, man. So where are you located now? Are you still in Mexico in this time?
No, I'm in back home, Santa Barbara.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good to be back home too.
Yeah. How's things that side at the moment?
Oh, I'm sure you probably follow some of the news and that, but we're right in this crisis time. Everybody's having to adjust to that with, and there's all these, there's a lot going on, so I guess people are very much concerned about being able to go back to work, and it's very crucial right now to, it's kind of a really crucial time right now. I suppose.
For sure.
Difficult time over there as well.
Yeah, it is a crazy time in this moment. But are you guys still allowed to surf that side? Or how's the laws regarding that?
Yeah, so that's the good thing is that we've been able to surf, so they haven't closed the beaches. They did close them, but they've been open since I've been back. So that's very good. It's like a key factor, I guess. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. 100%. So going into this episode, I just have a question for you. What does your daily routine look like in this time? We'll start your day.
Daily routine now, it's just been not a lot going on. I've been trying to surf and play tennis. Those are kind of the two things I do for sport. And and then otherwise, I'm working on some music as well. So I've had a bit of time to do that. It's just kind of been pretty limited to kind of just stay at home and not, but making the most of it and having some good time with family. Usually I try to surf every day if I can, and right now I'm working on a project with Channel Islands, so I'm going to go down and meet with Merrick in a little bit. So we're working on a new board. That's kind of the things that I'm kind of focusing on right now.
That's really cool. So I wanted to ask, when you're done on tour, so you have these sponsors, you're sponsored by Ripple, Channel Islands, and other sponsors for sure, but when the tour ends, how does that relationship continue? Because does a contract you have to sign or?
So it's been many days since I last competed, but there's a lot of flexibility in my agreement with Rick Roll. It's not based around the contest, which is a great thing. And I'm kind of involved their the part of their search campaign, which is something that I've been involved with now for quite a while.
From the
start. Started back in the back in the I guess the 90s. And we did a lot of traveling in South Africa, and as well as we did travel to Mozambique, haven't been to India yet. The concept is kind of the same as what we were doing, doing some travel with the crew, but also working on getting clips on our own type of thing like that, and been very happy to be with Rickroll this long, and been able to still be able to I feel like my surfing is as good as ever, which you may not believe that, but I do think it's a good time for surfers my age, because the boards are just so good that you're able to kind of maintain at least some level that we had in younger days, but the boards now are just very exciting, and keeps guys like myself keen, to go out and surf in bad waves and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Is that in your room? That's what I'm looking at. Is that some kind of light showing? That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's my. Thank you. That's my lights behind me. Just the background. James, what you have for us, bro?
All right. So I also got a few questions of mine. So you've obviously been all over the place. You've competed in 33. I think you've won 33, but you've competed in quite a few competitions. So my question is, what was your favorite place to surf? Like, there has to be like one special place for you that you like. Whenever you surf there, it's just always amazing.
I just would always say that the answer to that question is Hawaii, and still is like that for me. And I guess it is possible that the best waves I ever surfed could be in South Africa. Maybe it's possible. So it's one of my favorites too. But I would say Hawaii is always nice to go when you can.
Yeah. Would you say Jeffreys Bay in South Africa, or where exactly?
Jeffreys Bay comes to mind. Yes. The waves there just seem to be really made for surfing. I guess it's fantastic. It's Jeffreys Bay is one very special place, of course, and then I really enjoyed surfing in the south coast of Durban a lot of good waves. And elsewhere, I got to go to the Transkei once. That was very nice.
Sure.
Very beautiful. Not like phenomenal surf, but that's okay. It was just nice little waves, and we had a great time there. Very memorable.
For sure. That's awesome. So your first wave in JBay is literally, it's so iconic. The first time you're on the wave, it seemed as you've been surfing it for a couple of years. How was it your first time, or how was it experiencing Jeffreys Bay for the first time when you're out there?
Yeah, well, thank you. That I remember that very well, and I flew in the day before, and so we were kind of filming. We were going to start filming, and the swell was just coming in when I come to the point there, and it was about 3-4 foot, and a new swell. And so I guess what it was like would be if I was surfing at my home spot, Rincon, and then everything's kind of the same, but then it has this, has just that much added, because like it's a longer wave, a bit longer, and it's phenomenal to sort of get on a wave that's 3 or 4 feet, and then it stays that same height and even kind of gets bigger towards the end. That's very amazing.
Yeah. It's literally like God handcrafted that wave by himself, like bit by bit, meter by meter. It's such a phenomenal wave. Definitely the best. For me, I'd say it's the best right hand in the world.
The what? Sorry?
I'd say it's one of the best right hand waves in the world, if not the best.
Yeah. what I noticed about Jeffries too is even though it's really perfect, it does take a little bit to get used to. I think the rocks, the way the rocks are, it kind of it's a little bit hard to serve. When you first get, but then after a while you get used to it.
So we have a picture here that we want to pull up for you.
Okay.
This was in 1991. It was the famous cut back in backline. I think you were surfing a 7.9. That is absolutely crazy. So definitely around that time, I think it was like surfing a surfboard with a length of, which is a 7.9. How can you do a cutback like that? Are you still able to, or more, what can I ask rather? At what length does Tom Curren not be able to cut back? Like 7.9 is pretty tough to cut back.
Right. Well, yeah, good question. Well, this board in particular was a Maurice Cole reverse V.
Yeah.
And so what that does, it just makes the board looser already. So if you would compare that to a modern, sort of board from, for Hawaii nowadays, it's, the board lengths are shorter, and because the V is not there, it's more of a either concave or something like that. It causes the board to resist when you want to put it on a rail. So you can still put the board on the rail, but you have to use different dimensions, right?
Yeah.
With this board, because of the V, it just turned very easily. So that, it has a very sleek, gunny look to it, right? But just that bit of roll under the front foot. Also, that wave looks, it's not a very big wave, but that was like a small inside wave on that one day. So
yeah, that's beautiful. So what I'm noticing now is there was no sponsors on the board. So when you're normally not competing, would you or when you're free surfing, would you like kind of keep that under the radar, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that is, I surf with logos on my board now, all the time. This was a case where there's a brand new board, and I didn't have stickers, and so, although it looks nice the way it is, it was unfortunate that I didn't have my stickers on there because the sponsors that I had, were not happy about it, right? So it could have been a great bit of,
shot in a magazine or.
Yeah, so that was the downside of that, I suppose.
Yeah, but still definitely iconic.
So yeah, moving away from the surfing, I would like to ask you some things about music, because as you can see, I'm a bit of a musician myself. So my first question to you is Gibson or Fender?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm a Fender. I'm a Strat person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not.
Nice.
I like not that. I know what you mean though. With guitar players generally favor one or the other as far as their primary electric guitar. But I love Fender. I think for me the fretboard is the difference. But I love both. Obviously, they're just amazing. Just amazing piece of art, both of those designs. And I was just talking about this with my son the other day, because he was, it's kind of like the Stratocaster and the Les Paul. That's what we were talking about. So he was asking me, what's up with this Les Paul guitar? How come everybody's liking this one? My son's a very good guitar player himself. Anyways, the differences are, of course, the pickups and then the fretboard. I think on the Stratocaster is a slight dome on it, and the Les Paul, I think, is a flatter fretboard. So that could be partly why I like the Strat better, and it may have something to do with the way I'm playing, which has more of a hammer pull kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I pull, you know, it's kind of like a shortcut when you can't pick every note. You sort of pull the string instead of picking it. And I think, I mean, they're both amazing, I guess. I just have my own personal preference, I guess.
Yeah. And for me, I've played guitar for probably the past 9 years or so. And I own 4 guitars, as you can see behind me here. There's the Telecaster, which I use a lot for like the churchy sort of stuff, and also for some of the more cleaner styles I'm looking for. Then the Strat behind me is a lot more of like a grungier sort of sound, you know? And then of course I have a Les Paul for, I use a Les Paul for more like heavier and like lead sort of stuff. So with that, I want to ask you now, what would you classify your type of music as? What do you generally gravitate towards? Who are your influences? Let's talk about that sort of stuff.
All right. Love it. Well, I was lucky enough to get to hear still what we call, classics in popular music. And when I was very small, I got to hear this stuff from the Beatles and from, these type of bands, like my favorite music still. And at that time, when I was very little, I started playing the drums first, and anything that I would like more, it mostly depended on the drummer, I guess, in a way. So those bands had the drummer that I would like. I would play along to the music with the headphones and do it. Try to copy, sing. And so, of course, I liked all of it, but some of them were more fun to play drums to. So that kind of formed what I liked overall, and I like kind of more, kind of the British invasion type music, and then, going back to like the R&B from the 60s, soul music. I really like prog rock, because that's mainly, I think, a lot because of the drumming is always really tricky and technical. So I got, really impressed by these drummers that did prog rock. And then, but I would say, for me overall, like 60s soul music and R&B music is the 60s, 70s soul music was where I kind of felt like listening to these musics and the guitar solos, and some of this is so simple that it literally make you want to pick up that guitar and say, I'm going to do that, because it's really simple, but very powerful. So that's kind of the sort of the way in, with these kind of 1, 2, or 3 chord songs and very simple style melodies. And once you get that, you can make music that feels right, it feels right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you'd said that you're working on some music in lockdown. How is it different from a lot of the stuff that you've done before? Is it a lot more, I don't want to say isolated because you're at home. Have you like gone to like studios and stuff and recorded there rather like compared to like actually sitting down at home?
Yeah, so I was not in a studio. I just doing stuff at home.
Sweet.
So trying to work on some tunes, and I have this thing. It's called a loop thing. Yeah. It's like a
loop pedal, loop or something like that.
Yeah. So that's really not really for doing like gigs or anything, but it's kind of interesting because it helps you to come up with like a song idea or how many bars that you put in for each section and things like that, and then it just loops around constantly. So Um, so you don't actually, unless you unclick the loop will keep going. It'll just, it'll just keep going until you. So it's kind of, it's just different, like the sort of standard way to write or try to write tunes is just sitting down with the guitar and then with a notebook and then like that, but the loop gives it a little bit, it's a little more, it's kind of just a fresh perspective, I guess. And then also because it does loop, you can practice little parts and things like that. So I've been working up these loops with the keyboard and a drum machine, which has a drum machine in it, and then I put in the bass first, and then I do these start on the stop, like you have a rhythm track, and if you just press stop, then it makes a break in the song. So I'm trying to play and start at the same time. Which kind of, it is what it is. But it's like for developing tunes, so something different. And then my son is also Patrick. He's doing his music, and then he's also getting pretty good at recording. So something that I like to do as well. I like to do recordings, and I've got him to use mostly Pro Tools. Yeah. And so at the moment, I'm not doing any of that, but Patrick is he's like a music producer. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And so that's been very nice. That's been sort of one of the highlights, to be able to do a little recording session at home, and Patrick is the engineer. He's putting the microphones where they're supposed to be and coming up with some pretty good results. I think he's good at that too.
That's so cool. So do you still see yourself releasing some singles or albums at the moment, or you just?
Yes, I have a couple albums that I have done, but I was working on these new tunes and trying to get something together for like an album length thing. I have a lot of tunes that are just like sort of 80% finished, and they just need that last 20%, which is sometimes the most important 20%. So but yeah, I would like to mostly to have some new release, and then something that we can go out and do eventually do live shows.
So with music, who would you say is the most interesting person you've worked with when you've done music or played alongside?
Ooh, I've been very lucky. I've had some very eclectic people that I've met and got to play with. I would say one of the most interesting, one of the most interesting was this fellow from Morocco. He plays Ngawa music on a gambri. So gambri is an instrument from Central Africa. It's kind of like a bass. It has 3 strings. It has the low note and the high note, and then the 5th in between, like the 1. It's like a 1, 5, and a 1. 3 strings. That was very interesting, because this type of music, Ngawa music, is like a very old music from Africa.
Awesome.
And the interesting thing that I found with some of that music, I was noticing this, was that they don't use the 3rd a lot of times. They go 1, 2, 4, 5, etc. But the 3rd, they leave it out, and I in the scale. So I they leave it out. I noticed they do leave that third out. So you have a kind of a sound that you could make it into a major or minor key because there's no third, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, like there's so much about our popular music that is about the third. It's about between the minor major and the major and minor third. And that blues bending and all that is really what is between. It's exactly that. It's all about the third. And I've tried to think about that sometimes because I get tired of the third myself too, because it forces you to go with this or that mood. You see? So if it's a minor third, you're forced to go with the minor sound, right? The minor chord.
Yeah.
Not, you can make it a minor chord if you want to, because you can put the third in over the top. Anyways, that was interesting. And gosh, I got to hang out with one of my favorite bands, Pablo Cruz. And
sweet.
Pablo Cruz, you may know about them because of the movie Free Ride. It's a movie that has kind of the very important movie for all of us of our age group who surf. That film is full of Pablo Cruz music. So I was able, not so long ago, I got to go to Nashville, hang out with Dave from Pablo Cruz. And Dave is one of those guys. Like, I mean, I always like Pablo Cruz regardless of the movie, but this guy is very amazing guitar player, amazing songwriter, amazing vocal arranger. And these records, these old 70s and the 70s records, they are they're just phenomenal. And they're really good people. They surf, they surf as well. So gosh, I could keep going. I have been able to tour in Japan with very just musicians that are I say I call myself a musician, but it's not the same. You see? Anyways, so that was really good. These jazz kind of musicians and that, right? Anyways, so that's one thing, kind of like surfing. You travel around and meet people and get to play with in these sort of jam sessions and things like that.
That's so amazing, man.
That's awesome.
So going back onto surfing, I saw that you were at Kelly Slater's wave ranch, a close friend of yours. Did you ever see that coming, like a wave in the middle of nowhere, completely man-made?
Yes. If you ever get a chance, you should go.
Yeah,
it's amazing. The amazing thing is not that it is really perfect, but I think the amazing thing is that it's quite a long ride. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't actually know how many seconds, but it's quite a long ride.
Yeah, I saw you got battled there. That was a really good wave. That must have been so cool.
Yes, it's great. I guess for me and probably for you would probably maybe get tired of this wave because it's the same thing every time, and you have access to wave. But it is fun. It's just amazing. There's a couple little sections you need to pay attention to because they look like they slow down, but they speed up, and so. But it's also very interesting for surfboards and seeing how boards work. you know, because you can go up to the same section on a different board and have exactly the same section. And yeah, I guess, you know, the other thing that's interesting is that those tubes, you know, you can sort of tuck into these tubes, and they're very, you know, it's like sort of chest high, maybe under, even smaller, and you just it lets you out. It's quite amazing.
That's so crazy.
We got around 5 minutes left, so I think we can start wrapping it up. Is there any final words you would like to say before we end off?
Oh, well, I guess this one other thing I would mention is that one of the things about South Africa I really appreciate is the music, as well.
Yeah.
I have some of my favorite music from South Africa. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Sweet.
So you guys are cold over there, is it?
Yeah, it's literally raining outside at the moment.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you've been going in the water and that?
He's been a lot more than I have.
So we've been allowed to surf from the 1st of June. So I've literally been frothing up for 2 months waiting to surf. So now I've been on a bender surfing as much as I can.
There you go.
The swell's being a bit blown off at the moment. There's southeasterly, I think, coming
I
in.
went to surf this one beach there. It was right at the very tip down there. There's a little beach at the Cape, way down there. You know the spot? The Cape, like way down.
The Cape.
Down at the Cape, you have to drive in this very scenic drive, and then there's one final little beach down there. The last beach you can go to, like south.
I'm not too sure. Is it maybe in Houtbay side, like Dungeons or? Oh,
I don't know. It's just we got like little beach break waves there that it's right at like Table Rock, right under Table Rock, kind of, I think. No?
Under Table Mountain. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. There's a little beach down there.
Oh, Lindadno.
I don't know what it's called, but it's like the
it's a real small beach.
Small beach, yes.
Yeah, it's like closed off. It's really good waves there.
Yeah,
it's a hot spot. Yeah.
It's kind of gnarly. Like it's pretty thumping beach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sandbar.
Yes, sand, all sand. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I was a little bit nervous. I didn't stay out very long. It was very beautiful, very amazing.
Yeah, it is a crazy wave to surf. But last thing I got to ask you as we wrap up, is there any advice that you'd give to people wanting to go on the championship tour one day or go pro in surfing?
Well, there's a lot of advice. I would. Sorry, my battery. I would start. Well, I would say if you have an event, say you're getting ready for a big event, if it's a national event or just an event, even a local event that you want to, do your best in, I would start training immediately and make a timeline and do everything on that notebook that you write down, not to go too crazy, but make a timeline. And the other thing I was thinking about recently, because so I was in Mexico and I was having some waves there, and I noticed something happened when I was surfing every other day. I was able to improve my surfing, and it's just giving your body just the recovery time, and then that may be something to work on. Try to if you're in a coaching situation, think about, especially leading up to an event, I would say think about pushing hard in your surfing training
Yeah.
every other day. It might be something that may, because how it is with surfing, how it is. It's the swell comes, you surf that swell,
Yep.
and you just can't even walk, right? So with a training situation, that would not be really good if you were getting ready for an event.
Yeah.
Just kind of makes sense. But yeah, I guess what we need is more events, really.
Yeah. Well, with everything
that'd be
once
awesome.
everything's over, we're gonna most likely have some more events, but we have roughly around maybe 30 seconds left. So I just want to say to the
Yeah, Zoom
viewers,
cuts us off.
thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you, Tom, so much for coming on. Don't
Thanks, it
forget,
was
drop a
great
like
talking
on
to you.
this video. Go check out Tom's socials. Subscribe for some more amazing content. And we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Cheers.
Thanks, Tom. It
Cheers.
was awesome having you on, bud.
Cheers. Thank you. Nice to talk to you guys.
Nice to talk to you too, man.
Awesome. Thank you.